Welcome to I Am 33 Days. Today is day 10. I am favored. So our scripture comes from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 1, verse 28. Hail, full of grace, the Lord is with you. That greeting from the angel to Mary. And now we reflect on that statement towards us. The Lord is with you. Sometimes I think it's easy to know and maybe feel the sense that the Lord is with us when things are going good. When things are going bad, that's when we start to question. I think a good one for us to think about in these times, right? Chris talks about in this chapter a woman he met at a retreat he gave who had a very profound experience of God's love. And she reflected on how up to that moment she had really thought that she was cursed, that she had had a lot of just bad luck, not to go into too much detail of her story, but just a lot of tragedy, a lot of unfortunate things, not of her own choosing. And she shared how, often Chris kind of tied in this reflection that lies connect to our pain. She had real pain in her life. There's no doubt about it. But at some point, a lie had kind of just been accepted in her reality, that she just thought she was cursed, that this was her journey, that she was forgotten, she was abandoned. This was her lot. I think it's important for us to understand that Christ came and suffered and died, not necessarily to take away our pain, but to show us how to suffer and what to do with it and what to unite it to. Suffering can either make us bitter or it can make us better. It's not an overnight sensation. Grief is a tricky thing. There's pain, there's isolation, there's questioning, there's desolation. But I believe in a God who can transform anything if we allow His grace to enter into our life and to cooperate with it. I also think of this scripture of Mother Mary. Here is the most favored one, the one without sin. And yet think of the suffering she endured, seeing her son die upon that cross. To be given a word early on in his life, knowing what was to come, that he would suffer, that her heart would be pierced in pain. Now, if the most favored one had to endure, why do we think sometimes we're, exempt? We live in a culture that tries to dodge pain left, right, and center. And I think, honestly, that explains a lot of us who struggle with suffering. We work so hard to escape it that when it inevitably comes into our life, we then don't know how to process it. I'm actually really grateful in my life that I had some family members who passed away. I'm not grateful that they passed away, let me be clear. I'm grateful for the experience of death and mourning and community at a young age in my life. In the moment, not at all. But as I've grown, I've started to realize that it helped me enter into the mystery of death and suffering a lot earlier than probably, frankly, I could have avoided it. I would have avoided it. Now that comes with time. In that moment, I wasn't grateful. I wasn't looking for it. I don't think any of us are. But somehow through God's grace, I was able to see what He was trying to eventually teach me and show me through those experiences. To give me the grace to be better, not just bitter. I don't know the cards you've been dealt. I don't know where your situation is with everything we're going on in the world. But I know that you're invited to be better. And you're being reminded that you are not alone, that you are favored. So even in your suffering, in your pain, maybe in your apparent isolation, know that you have not been abandoned. Don't accept that lie in your life. I love, I think it was my man, Mr. Rogers, used to talk about during suffering. He said, look for the helpers. And I've really embraced that in all these tragedies, and we saw shootings in our culture and, all these different things. I always go to that quote and I always look around like, where's the hope? Where are the stories? Where is God revealing his hand in this moment? Maybe think about that today, in those around you, in the news you see, and in the way that you're living your life right now. This is what Chris gave us too, which I think is important and useful for us to do. He says, name a tragedy in your life that makes you feel cursed, forgotten, or abandoned. You know, was it a breakup of a family? Was it a loss of a loved one? Was the experience, for me, it was the experience of some bullying in middle school. Really put a lie in my heart that I thought I was unlovable, right? Or I was someone who was not noticed. And I have to fight against that to this day. And then he says, how does your view of this tragedy change with the knowledge that Jesus suffers with us and teaches us how to offer our suffering back to God as an act of love? Because that's ultimately where we want to end up. Take whatever we received and through his grace, transform it back into love and to offer it as a gift. I'll see you in prayer. God bless you.